What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some insane battles in the Open Great League, continuing the full buffed evolution line series, this time with the Teddiursa line, which is a bit special as all three Pokemon got 2 buffs this season, each having access to both Swift and Trailblaze. Now I'll be honest, I was prepared to sacrifice a ton of elo making this video. I didn't have particularly high hopes for it as of course all 3 Pokemon share the exact same coverage with this moveset, but I actually managed to go positive in my first 2 sets with the team, and some of the wins are absolutely insane. Also, whilst I don't recommend the full team, Shadow Ursaring is genuinely so good this season, and so many opponents were caught off guard by the Trailblaze, mostly for Alligator users actually, which is very nice because they are notoriously double shielders. But anyways, it came in clutch time and time again, so with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Do you think there's a larger variety of Pokemon being used in the Great League meta this season, or do you think it's even more condensed than last season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. I was going to go into the first battle, lead Ursaluna into Clodsire, so a fairly neutral matchup, of course, going to resist the poison damage here, and Earthquake still would hit very hard up against the Ursaluna, and unfortunately I don't have high horsepower to hit that nuke charge move up against the Clodsire, although the opponent doesn't know that, so they swap into Mandibuzz, and unfortunately I throw it on very poor timing, giving a full Snarl in for free, but I will still be able to make it to another Swift, and I'm going to throw it on CMP. Now this is very risky, we've already given them a full Snarl in, but the opponent does just throw their energy straight away. At this point, going to no-shield this, there's not really any point keeping my Ursaluna alive. I'm hoping I put them into range where with the lick damage we can take them out with a Swift, but I'm honestly not certain that is the case. They're going to fire off the Dark Pulse there, we're going to overfarm, we're going to throw just before they make it to the next charge move, Swift will be coming through, and it does get the KO. Now they're going to come back in with the Clodsire, still very healthy as we didn't land a charge move with the Ursaluna. Going to fire off a Swift, and we do overfarm just slightly though, hoping to throw off the counts for the opponent, and we do make it to another Swift. Now Swift should be grabbing a shield here as they do have a ton of energy. We're now going to swap into the Shadow Ursaring. Definitely going to be shielding here as the opponent is going to bait with a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb honestly still would do a lot of damage, but I'm able to throw a Swift on the CMP Tide. Probably going to grab the final shield here as they do have a ton of energy, and this is almost certainly going to be an Earthquake this time around. With shield, it is the Earthquake. They're going to swap into a Feraligatr, but it doesn't matter as we can make it to a Trailblaze, and Trailblaze from a Shadow Ursaring will get the one shot up against Feraligatr. We can Shadow Claw, farm down the Clodsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to up over there into next battle. We can see Ursaluna into a Shadow Machamp. So obviously this is a nightmare lead matchup for us, but at least with Karate Chop, whilst yes they can absolutely spam these charge moves, they're not going to be able to just fully fast move farm me down, or at least, I mean, they hopefully won't be able to do so. They technically probably could, but either way, gonna fire off the Swift there, hoping the opponent does throw their energy, and they do throw. So at this point, gonna no shield, let the Ursaluna go down. We can come in with the Ursaring, hoping to go for a Shadow Claw farm down and shield once, but they swap into Greninja. Now, of course, we are running Trailblaze here. I'm hoping that by the time I throw a charge move, Swift will probably get the KO. So just gonna fire off the Swift, a little bit risky here, but Swift doesn't quite get the KO, so I swap into my Teddiursa, but this is not looking good. Hydro Cannon does huge damage there. We do get the lick farm down. They're going to come back in with the Machamp, but they throw their energy. Big mistake. They could have just farmed me down there. I wasn't making it to a charge move. They're now going to come in with Feraligatr, and we're going straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze nearly one-shots them. The opponent does not respect the damage, and now we can just Shadow Claw, farm down Machamp, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to up over there into next battle. You can see Ursaluna into Drifblim. So of course we've got 2 Pokemon in the back that do have super effective fast move damage. So we swap into our Teddiursa there, and unfortunately up against Rollout, man, I just cannot time it for the life of me. It's because the animation is like behind what it should be, so it's like a turn later. So when you try and throw it on good timing, you actually end up throwing on alignment, giving a full fast move in for free. But at this point, the opponent's just like throwing lick animations at me, so very confusing here. Either way, going to come in with the Ursaluna, and I'm going to no-shield the first move here. They didn't farm up to a potential Solar Beam. Worst case scenario, it could have maybe been an Earthquake, but either way, we're going to fire off a Swift. Swift is going to be no-shielded by the opponent. It still doesn't take them out there, but I should still be able to live this. So going to no-shield this. The opponent goes for the Body Slam. We're going to swap straight away, go for the Snipe with the Shadow Claw damage, and they're going to come back in with the Drifblim. So this is fine with me. They're going to throw throw a charge move, and we are very glassy, so I will respect the damage this time. They go for the Icy Wind, and now they're going to swap into Feraligatr, and once again, we're going straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze connects, it does big damage, and the opponent is just going to concede the match straight away after landing the Trailblaze there. You see, these Feraligatr users, whilst they just shield everything, for some reason they weren't shielding the Trailblaze. I don't have a clue why, but either way, GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Chestnut in the lead, which is possibly the worst thing we could see in the lead, in all honesty there, as of course not only going to hit the entire team for super effective damage with those superpowers, it is also a grass type, and Ursaluna does not want to see grass. So either way, we swap into Ursaring, and we barely hang on, living that Aquatail there with 1 HP and a Dream, making it to another Swift, grabbing a shield back from the Drapion, which is very nice. At this point, I'm going to come in with the Ursaluna, and they will make it to back-to-back Aquatail, so I'm going to no-shield the first one here. I think they are 2 away from the next one, and actually, no, never mind. They don't make it to another charge move. Maybe I was thinking of a different game here. Either way, we're going to fire off the Swift. Swift does some decent damage. We're going to swap into our Teddiursa, and unfortunately, they've got double Dark Poison there with Quillfish, which is a very interesting team. And actually, I haven't really seen anyone running Hisuian Quillfish, but like Drapion, it does also have Poison Sting and Aquatail, so great coverage there. They fire off the Aquatail. At this point, I kind of have to shield this and fire off a charge move, but because they are so spammy, I'm not able to overfarm by much, so going to fire off the Swift here. Swift is going to be no-shielded. I kind of needed to grab the shield there, and at this point, this is going to be game over. The opponent will be throwing a charge move. They go for superpower, and unfortunately, they will just be able to go for a full Vine Whip farm down, taking out the Teddiursa, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We see Dusk Noir in the lead, so this is great for us. Typically, they're going to have only Ghost type moves. So I'm staying in initially, of course. We've only got resisted moves here as well, but we're going to swap, and the opponent's actually running Dark Pulse, which is very interesting. So I wonder if that means that they're not running Shadow Ball. I don't think you would give up Shadow Punch just because it is so spammy. And it did, of course, get a buff this season. But either way, gonna fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is eventually gonna connect for big damage up against the Azumarill. We get a little bit of lag there, so I'm not really sure how many bubbles they've thrown. So I kind of just panicked, throw a charge move there. Not sure if I could have just gone for a full farm down. But either way, they're gonna come in with a Skuntank. So firing off a boosted Swift. Swift is definitely gonna grab a shield there. So maybe I could have gone for the Trailblaze and just get one boosted Shadow Claw off, but that's a bit risky. Didn't really need to do that. Instead, you're gonna fire off the Swift with the Ursaluna, and we are resisting the poison jab damage, but I'm not certain if they go for a Trailblaze here, maybe they could just boost through my team here. So instead, I'm gonna no shield that, come in with the Teddiursa, and they actually don't throw straight away, so I'm happy to fire off a Swift. Swift grabs a shield there, they swap back into Dusk Noir, and at this point, I have to just call a bait here. There's no way I can shield this. Skuntank has loaded energy, and they do bait. They go for the Shadow Punch. Huge mistake, as now we can fire off a Trailblaze. Trailblaze gets the KO, and despite being resisted damage, I will be able to resisted Lick, farm down the Skuntank from this range, shielding up the Crunch. Lick gets the farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we can see a Wigglytuff in the lead now. Not really ideal for us, but definitely where we want to see it, as we've got resisted, well, double resisted fast move damage from my backline there. So instead, we're going to shield this up here as they go for a Swift, which is actually quite good for me, because if they debuff my attack, then I don't think there's any way that I'm going to take out the Wigglytuff here. Honestly, I should have just gone for a Trailblaze there, because they were guaranteed to shield. It's a charm user, of course. So unfortunately, now we don't deal that much damage. We're still going to be a very tricky farm down for the Teddiursa here, and they will make it to a charge move. This might actually be an Icy Wind, but I'm just going to no-shield anyways. It is the Icy Wind. We're going to swap into our Shadow Ursaring, go for the Shadow Claw farm down, but we are already very low in health, and they come in with a Shadow Golux, so I'm going straight for Trailblaze. Typically, they would resist everything, but unfortunately, they do end up shielding, correctly shielding up the Trailblaze there. And now, unfortunately, this is not looking good for us. I'm going to shield this up. We still got maybe a slither of hope if they've got a Feraligatr in the back. And they do. So we're going to go and fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze does big damage, but we're not able to get the Lick farm down. Unfortunately, they can Shadow Claw farm me down. And we do end up losing that game. But GG's to opponent there. Into next battle, we can see a Shadow Feraligatr in the lead this time around. So, unfortunately, not where we want to see it. But I'm going to shield this up here, as the opponent going to go for a Hydro Cannon. And then they swap into a Skeledirge. So, we're going to come in with the Shadow Ursaring. And whilst, yes, all of my charge moves are resisted, because we're running Trailblaze here, I can go for 2 Shadow Claws, fire off the Trailblaze, and then we're going to boost our attack. So if they no-shield this, which the opponent does do, we can now go for the Shadow Claw farm down, and we are boosted. So they're now going to come in with a Serperior, and you can see we are stutter lagging, but we are still able to throw the Swift, which is really good for me. We throw on the CMP tie, grabbing a shield there with the boosted Swift. We've of course got no shields remaining, so Aerial Ace will be taking us out, but we can come in with the Teddiursa, and I will just have to no shield everything. I'm going to let this move go through. I don't want to throw straight away, just in case they do make a catch onto Feraligatr, and they're going exactly for that. So we're going to go for a Trailblaze. We're going to undercharge this. It still does slightly too much damage, in my opinion, but we do get the snipe with the Ursaluna. Going to fire off the Swift. I would have liked to get a slightly bigger tackle farm down there, but they let the first one through, and they still allow me to make it to another charge move. We're going to grab the final shield up against Superior, and they overfarm way too much. Of course, they will go for a Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant gets the KO, but we've put them into lick farm down range for the Teddiursa, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG to opponent there. Into next battle, can see a Fortress in the lead. Now, of course, going to double resist the Volt Switch damage, assuming they are running the newly buffed fast move. Well, not newly buffed, but newly gained access to fast move. We're going to go for the Trailblaze there, and honestly, I probably should just let the Ursaluna go down here. I was thinking, I'll save my Ursaluna because we do resist the fast move up against that Fortress, but also they resist everything we can possibly throw, so that didn't really make any sense whatsoever. We're now going to come in with the Teddiursa, going to commit to a huge farm down here, but it doesn't really help me because these are resisted moves. I figured maybe I'll go and boost up my attack, and so that Swift will do slightly more damage, but it's just pointless here. Definitely shouldn't have shielded my Ursaluna, and we're now just in a really bad position. We go for the Swift, that does some decent damage there, but they are still very healthy, still in the green health range there. We're going to come in with the Ursaluna, basically just force the opponent to go and full send an Earthquake if they're running Earthquake. And the opponent is going to full send the Earthquake there, taking out the Ursaluna. We come in with our Shadow Ursaring, and my only win condition is if the opponent plays like a Feraligatr user and no shields to the Trailblaze. But unfortunately, they do shield, so at this point, it's game over. There's no point shielding here. They'll be able to outpace me to back-to-back charge moves. Hydro Cannon gets the KO, and we do comfortably lose that game. Now going into the next battle, you can see Goodra in the lead, so we should be pacing the same to the Swift as they reach an Aqua Tail if they're running Aqua Tail, and so we're going to fire off straight away as we should be winning CMP as well. Now the opponent's going to overfarm quite considerably. At this point, I'm going to shield this. I'm hoping to get a tackle farm down, but I don't think I'm quite going to get there, so I have to throw a Swift. We throw on the CMP tie. Excuse me there. And honestly, I probably would have preferred to grab a shield, which I did there, so that's fine with me. We've got basically two of the same Pokemon in the back. So we're going to come in with the Shadow Ursaring, and they're going to come in with a Dunsparce. Now, Dunsparce is a big problem for my backline, unfortunately, as we've only got resisted fast move pressure. And while Swift, yes, it does do a lot more damage this season. Well, actually, not more damage, sorry, it is cheaper in energy. It's an efficient move, but unfortunately it's still just not good enough to two-shot a Dunsparce, so we have to throw and land 3 charge moves up against the Dunsparce, which is definitely not ideal. But the opponent's going to swap and make a very nice catch there, catching the Swift onto their Clodsire, and at this point this is probably game over. Of course, they've got no shields left, but it doesn't really matter. They've got a loaded Dunsparce, and they're still not really in range for one charge move to take out that Dunsparce either, so if I do take out the Clodsire here, which I should be able to do, yeah, we're still not going to be able to take this game. So we're going to come back in with the Ursaring. They're probably going to try and snipe with the Dunsparce. But my only win condition here is if they snipe, but then they overfarm, and they don't do that. So at this point, obviously a Drill Run or a Rock Slide would be enough damage to take out the Ursaring. And unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there, into next battle, you can see a Shadow Marowak in the lead, and we are going to just play out the zero shield scenario here. I should be able to go for a Trailblaze, live the Bone Club here, and a Trailblaze, it probably won't quite take them out from this HP, but it probably put them into tackle farm down range. They end up shielding anyway, so we're going to come in with the Teddiursa, and I'm just going to shield this, as at this point we are pretty low on the Ursaluna. We don't want to be too low on the Teddiursa as well, and they're going to come in with a Shadow Drifblim. So of course, not running Crunch here, but Trailblaze is going to boost my attack, and I will just barely make it to a Swift. I'm honestly hoping to grab a shield here. I'd rather they shield, as I'm not certain that would KO, and they do shield, which is perfect for me, because at this point we're going to let the Teddiursa go down. We can come in with the Shadow Ursaring, go for the Shadow Claw farm down, and the opponent is going to come back in with their Marowak, so we're just firing off a Swift immediately. Swift will get the KO, and they've got a Jellicent in the back, so typically Jellicent would wall the energy here, but with running Trailblaze, it's going to hit for super effective damage. Trailblaze nearly gets the KO there, and they're going to fire for charge move for no reason whatsoever, as we've still got a shield in play, so we shield up the Surf, we get the Shadow Claw farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG, so putting there into the next battle, we can see a Drifblim in the lead. So we are going to swap into the Teddiursa, as once again, unfortunately, Ursaluna only has resisted moves to throw, and it does also take super effective damage from an Icy Wind. But the opponent's going to go for an Icy Wind, then swapping into a Shadow Drapion. So we've got quite a significant energy advantage. Gonna fire off the Swift, and I will just barely make it to another Swift before they make it even to an Aqua Tail. So Swift at this point will grab a shield from the Shadow Drapion, and even debuff. We're dealing a lot of damage here. So at this point, gonna let the Teddiursa go down. They did overfarm quite a bit. This might be the battle I was thinking of here, where they are going to make it to back-to-back Aqua Tails. So gonna no-shield the first one, and they are 2 away from the next Aqua Tail. So we are going to shield the next Aqua Tail, then go for the tackle farm down. So Aqua Tail coming through. They actually swap back into the Drifblim. So at this point, gonna come in with the Ursaluna, or sorry, the Shadow Ursa Ring, and we're gonna shield this up here. And they're gonna go for the Icy Wind, of course. We're gonna go for an even bigger Shadow Claw farm down now. And if they come back in with a Drapion, I'm actually going to fire off a Trailblaze to once again boost up my attack to the regular attack here for the Ursa Ring. So Trailblaze is going to get the KO, and they come in with a Shadow Venusaur. Now this Swift is going to do so much damage here. Swift does connect, it does huge damage, it will put them into farm down range. The opponent can try and farm me down here, but that's not going to happen. So the opponent will throw a Charge Move at the last second, but it doesn't matter. They're not at back-to-back Frenzy Plants. We're still healthy on the Ursaluna. We get the tackle farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG, so up there, into the next battle, can see a Talonflame in the lead. So this is kind of okay for us. We should be able to outpace them to the first charge move, and we're going to fire off a Swift just before they can make it to a potential Flame Charge or a Fly, and we're going to grab a shield there from the opponent. And at this point, I'm also going to shield, as I should still be able to outpace them to the next move, but the opponent's going to swap into a Dunsparce, so not ideal for us. We do throw a much better timing this time around. We're going to go for the Swift. Swift doesn't really do much damage there, but we're going to swap into our Teddiursa, basically just sacrifice the Teddiursa here, as it's basically just a worse version of the Ursa Ring, to be honest. At this point, gonna no-shield once again. I'm hoping we can make it to a Swift here. That does big damage, but we do make it to the Swift just in time. Swift will be coming through. Still not gonna get the KO there, but it does get them a little bit lower there. Wow, I can't even talk. We're going to come back in with the Ursa Ring, and we throw on CMP, but the opponent catches it onto a Ferrothorn. And unfortunately, this is one of the matchups where having close combat is just going to be miles better than Trailblaze, because unfortunately Trailblaze is double resisted, so it's not going to do much damage. They fire off the Power Whip here. I'm hoping to maybe grab a shield in this matchup. We're going to go and fire off a Swift. Swift is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, and we're not quite at back-to-back Swifts here either, so going to fire off another Swift, but they can just safely shield that up, fire off a Power Whip. Power Whip will get the KO, and this is already game over, as we can come in with the Ursaluna. They're actually just barely able to outpace me to a Charge Move on the Talonflame. I don't think Swift would have quite taken them out there anyways, but a Fly definitely takes out the Ursaluna, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there, Internet's battle, you can see a Dunsparce in the lead. So this is actually a just barely losing matchup in the zero shield scenario, as they do outpace me to back-to-back charge moves. But we throw on CMP there. That was not intentional. That was just once again me being thrown off by the delayed animation of rollout. But this time this was intentional, as they overfarmed here, allowing me to win CMP. And this is probably the best case scenario I can get out of this matchup here. As they do overfarm, I'm hoping we put them into Shadow Claw farm down range before they make it to another charge move. But no, they live with 1 HP and a dream. And unfortunately, I have to shield this because Shadow Ursa Ring is very glassy, but they come in with Feraligatr, and we're going straight for Trailblaze. Is this going to be another victim to the Trailblaze? Yes, it is. We get the Shadow Claw farm down, and the opponent just concedes the match straight away. I don't even know what was in the back there, but it doesn't matter. They were getting shredded by the Ursa Ring, so they concede. And into the next battle, GG's to the opponent, by the way. We're going to see a Shadow Cacturn, and this is very spicy, but also very dangerous for me, because unfortunately they got Trailblaze to hit for super effective damage up against my Ursa Ring, and then we've only got resisted damage here, but I kind of have to no-shield this, otherwise they'll be able to grab both shields from me by making it to another Trailblaze and fully farming down my Ursaluna. So at this point, I'm going to shield this up here. We're taking so much damage from these sucker punches. We swap into the Ursa Ring, but look, they've already got me into the yellow health range with like 3 fast moves, which is insane. But they come in with the Azumarill. We're firing off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, but we make it to a Swift on the CMP type with an Ice Beam. Swift is also going to be no-shielded. At this point, my only win condition really is if they've got another Feraligatr in the back. So I no-shield. We're going to come in with the Teddiursa. It's not Feraligatr, it's a Toxapex. So I just instantly concede the match there. But GG's to up over there, Internet Battle, another Dunsparce in the lead. So this time we're not going to throw immediately. Again though, I think I do throw on CMP, which is again accidental, but it works out for me. They don't get an extra fast move in for free. They're going to go for the drill run there, and the opponent is this time going to throw immediately. So this time I'm actually going to shield just because I kind of need the tackle damage to put them into Swift range. So this time we're going to overfarm. We do throw it on much better timing this time around, not on CMP or anything like that. We go for the Swift and we put them into tackle farm down range. A bit of a weird animation glitch there, but either way, they're going to come in with a zoom reel. Is this the same team? Hopefully not, because Toxapex isn't ideal for us, but either way, firing off the Trailblaze, we're going to come in with the Teddiursa, and I'm just going to no-shield this. They did farm up to a potential Hydro Pump, but it is just a play rough, so going to no-shield that. We are now going to go and fire off the Trailblaze just before they make it to the next charge move. Trailblaze gets the KO there, and they come in with a Shadow Dragonite. Now, this is very tricky, but I do have Trailblaze, and I can ramp up the damage on my Shadow Claws, so I'm going to do exactly that. You can see we're taking huge damage from the Dragon Breath, but we go for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will be shielded, and the opponent's actually going to fire off a charge move, also giving me a full Shadow Claw in for free. Huge mistake there, and we are actually able to get the Shadow Claw farm down, but I will say that is an inconsistency that we ended up winning on, because the Dragon Breath damage should have landed. It should have been a simultaneous KO there, but for some reason, often one-turn fast moves aren't able to get a simultaneous KO. Don't really understand why that works, or why it doesn't work, but either way, I'll definitely take the win there, but GG's to that opponent. Into next battle, you can see an Altaria in the lead this time around, so we're actually going to shield that, and I'm not really sure on the pasting to a Sky Attack. So we're going to come in with the Teddiursa, and they come in with a Marowak at the exact same time. At this point, I can't really afford to use my second shield straight away, so going to no-shield this. And I figured I could go for Trailblaze here, but I'm hoping we can make it to back-to-back Swifts before they do go and fully farm me down. And we are just barely able to get there in time, which is huge for me. Swift number 2 is going to be no-shielded. It does get them reasonably low here. So this one I'm going to come in with my Ursaluna and basically just force them to throw, but no, they swap and they've got Miltank in the back. And unfortunately, once again, another normal type rollout user. It's just not going to be ideal for us. They go for the Ice Beam. That does huge damage here. We can fire off a Swift, and we're probably going to grab a shield here as we could be running close combat. We do grab the shield, and we also get damage registration error, allowing me to make it to another Swift. Swift does connect. It does some decent damage, but we're going to fire off the next Swift straight away. Now, all of their Pokemon are pretty low, but unfortunately Swift doesn't get the KO there, so there's no point shielding here. I'm going to let the Ice Beam take us out. They're probably running Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, which is very interesting, and something that I might consider using as well. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle, you can see a Mandibuzz in the lead, so just going to stay in this matchup here. Of course, we're hitting for neutral damage with the tackles. We've got only resisted fast move damage in the back, so actually would prefer to see it up against my lead. We're going to no-shield the first move as they go for a Dark Pulse, and we are going to see an Aerial Ace probably coming in here, so I'm probably going to be able to live this. We do live it, and we can make it to another charge move, but then they come in with a Dunsparce, and once again, very much not ideal for my backline here. We're going to come in with the Teddiursa, once again, basically just looking to sacrifice it, save my shields for the Shadow Ursa Ring. As I go for a Drill Run there, Drill Run does do some pretty substantial damage. At this point, I probably will have to shield this, just because they have overfarmed quite considerably in this matchup. So we're going to shield the Drill Run here, and then we'll fire off a Swift just before they make it to the next charge move. Swift does get the KO, which is very nice. They come in with a Gastrodon. Can we make it to a Trailblaze? No, we're not going to be able to do so. So I swap into my Ursa Ring. I realize I've only got one win condition here, and that's if the opponent no shields up against the Mandibuzz and then just tries to 2-shield flex against me. So at this point, we're going to fire off the Swift. We're going to play this out anyways. Swift gets the KO, and we're going straight for the Trailblaze here. Does the opponent respect the damage? No, they don't. They let that go through. 2 shields there. The opponent goes for the 2-shield flex, and it massively backfires, and I'm able to take that game. But GG's to up over there, into next battle, another Dunsparce in the lead. Honestly, a lot of repetitive teams here. But either way, gonna no-shield, they go for the Drill Run. We are gonna overfarm, and we're gonna fire off a Swift just before they make it to the next charge move. They can outpace me to the next move if they throw immediately, but they don't throw straight away. And this time we're gonna play it slightly different. We're actually gonna swap into Teddiursa, and I should still be able to outpace them to the next Swift, but they come in with a Dugong. So we're gonna go straight for the Trailblaze here. Trailblaze, if it does connect, is going to do big damage in this matchup. It boosts up my attack. At this point, just gonna let the Teddiursa go down. And to go for an Icy Wind, we are going to wait out the Switch Clock, then come in with my Shadow Ursaring, and whilst I could take them out with a Swift here, I'm actually instead going to go for a Trailblaze, and that's something that I like to do here. Basically, when I can KO a Pokemon, go for the Trailblaze, boost up my attack, so that way, now these Swifts are going to do even more damage in this matchup here, and hopefully, a Swift will be enough to actually get the KO from this range, so gonna fire off the Swift. Swift, can it get the KO? No, unfortunately they live with 1 HP and a Dream once again, so I have to shield this. They go for Drill Run, and they've got Jump Off in the back. So honestly, if I preserve my shield there, if we were able to get the KO, I think we'd be in a pretty good position here. But unfortunately, now I've got no shields remaining. There's not a lot we can do. I can fire off a boosted Swift. It does do and connect for a lot of damage there, but unfortunately, just not quite enough damage. We're going to come in with the Ursaluna, firing off another Swift. All shields are down on the opponent's end, but Swift doesn't get enough damage there, and of course an Energy Ball, if they're running Energy Ball, does get the KO up against my Ursaluna, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to up over there into the final battle of this video, leading into our Quagsire. Now, this is a Pokemon that I do want to see here, just because I should be able to live an Aqua Tail from full HP, but they're not going to be able to live a Trailblaze, so we're throwing it straight away. That actually wasn't very good move timing, but I don't expect them to shield, and they don't shield. It gets the one shot. They come in with a Dugong, so we're going to swap straight away into my Teddiursa. I'm hoping if I just throw it immediately, a lot of Dugong users do like to shield the first move, but nope, never mind. They're going to no shield that first move there. I'm also not going to consider shielding as they go for an Icy Wind, and at this point the opponent probably going to go for a full farm down, and if they do, we can make it to a Trailblaze, but unfortunately we do get stutter lag there, meaning I throw one turn later, and that actually allows them to fully farm me down, but we get the Tackle Snipe with the Ursaluna. They've got a Sand Slash in the back. Honestly, I should just go straight for Trailblaze. First of all, we don't even farm up to a potential close combat, but actually landing the Body Slam there might be pretty useful for me, because now I can shield up the Ice Punch here, and at this point I'm hoping that I can just swap out before they make it to the next charge move, but I realise that won't be the case, so I've still got a lot of energy. I'm going to fire off a Swift, and this will just kill the Switch Clock here, meaning I can come in with the Ursaluna. The opponent still has to throw a charge move, as even though it's resisted, tackles will add up, and now can we get the Shadow Claw farm down? Yes, we're able to do so, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.